So till yesterday, so we have seen, okay, XPath and CSS, how to use XPath and how to use not uses, how to write the CSS path and how to write the XPath access methods we have seen yesterday and day before yesterday, right? So now we will use all these locators. All these locators we will use in our automation testing. Okay, these locators, the basic locators and also the customizable paths, forward direction, bidirectional, forward way and backward way. Okay, so all these we will discuss, we will use in our program. Okay, so now what I do is, so instead of, okay, this is separate application, right? Okay, so I will create one more project, close all, one more project, file, new project, Java project only. This project I will convert into some other type. Select as Java 11, project name, OpenMRS, Selenium. Okay, we should not use hyphen, underscore, Selenium Java. Okay, so the above one I will give you as a assignment. Okay, so finish it. So I don't want to create module info.java file, you can remove it. Okay, so sometimes it give you a issue, this module info.java. So don't check this checkbox, remove it, just finish it. So now, okay, so this is my OpenMRS project. This is the SRC. So let me create one package. So package name is test. The package name is test. So package name should be in small letters always. Okay, if you have more than one name, more than one word, put dot to separate. So test package. So let me create the class name as OpenMRS test. OpenMRS test. I want public main method also. Okay, so let me copy the jar files, Chrome driver and also jar files. I'm copying to my project. Why it is taking more time? Okay, so the jar files also added. Okay, so we are going to automate this OpenMRS application, right? Okay, add your jar files also into build path. Okay, copying jar files to your project is not only a solution. So you need to also add those jar files to your build path execution. I mean, compilation and execution build path. What is build? Basically, building. Okay, build and run, build and deploy. You might have heard about these words, right? Building means when you are implementing, okay, some program, which means that is building some program. Okay, while building, some compilation related happens, right? In the backend, compilation will be happen. Okay, for the compilation, if you are using something, some other package support, your compiler has to understand what is that statement. If you are using Selenium related statement, your compiler should understand Selenium statements. So it requires some supporting files. Those supporting files you have to add it to the build path. Okay, building path. So you have two options: add jars, add external jars. So add jars, which means if you are already created your jar files or stored your jar files into the same project, then you can use the add jars. If those jar files are available at outside of your project, outside of this folder, go for the external jars. I already stored my jar files into my project folder. Click on add jars. So where I have stored in this OpenMRS Selenium jars, select all these files. See, while selecting, do not drag. Click on one jar file, hold the shift, then click on the last file. Hold the shift, not control. Hold the shift. These are the normal things. Okay, these are not related to technical. How to use your computer, you have to know that by practice. Okay, just add it. So people generally they click one, again they hold the control, one by one they will click. Instead of that, one by one clicking one by one, what you can do is click on one, hold the shift and click on the last one. It will select all. Okay, apply and close. Okay, jar files are added to your build path. Those you can check in the referenced libraries. So basically, whenever you create any program in Eclipse, it fetches some support, Java support related files to JRE system library, JRE. Okay, JRE system library means Java Runtime Environment System Library, which is there in the Java installation folder. From there, it fetches the supporting files. Whenever you are using public class, main method, some supporting files also required here. Those are fetching here. See, so if you want to go to Java, you can see in Java folder, you can see those classes and all. Java lang package. This is modules info. You can see Java compiler. Okay, some X model, some lang model, like that. You can see the packages, different packages. See Java lang package, Java base. By default, we are using java.lang package. All these are available in Java lang package. Okay, the classes and the string, these integers, everything you can find here. Character.class, byte.class, all these are what we are using, right? Wrapper classes, exceptions, all these are available in this lang package. See, exception class, enum class, interface. Where is interface? Interrupted. Interface also we should have, or it will be available in some other package also. Okay, so all string classes, string methods, you can see all string methods. What are the available methods you have in string? Those you can see in the string class. See, all these are methods. These many methods we have string. See. Okay, similarly, you can find all class, interface, enum, everything you can find in the java.lang package. By default, we are using it. By default, we are using class. We are using, right, class. Everything is available in this java.lang package. Okay. Similarly, so if you want to use some third party, those you have to add to JRE system library. Generally, we don't disturb the JRE system library. So we have one more option. We have a reference libraries option. So there we can store. Your compiler uses these files from JRE system library as well as reference system library. So now I have a test. Okay, let me set up the path by copying from these files. Okay, so here I have written some code, right? That I copy as it is to my class. So here, let me copy and paste. Okay, what is WebDriver? It is already imported. Fine. And my Chrome driver is available in my current project folder. Inside that Chrome drivers, my Chrome driver file exists. Okay, so here instead of giving some hard coded names, here launch application. Just give the name as launch application. Okay, close application we have. So I don't want to use these print statements. For your understanding purpose, I have two different methods. Okay, whenever I want to launch some URL, that URL I will pass it as the argument. Okay, it will open that URL and it will maximize that browser. Okay, if I want to close, okay, it will close that browser. Okay, let me copy this URL from here, and also let me check whether these credentials are working or not. Admin and admin123 are the username and password. These I will share with you. And one more thing is, it is a healthcare application. We have to select one module. Okay, registration deck. I will select, then click on login. Manual flow. I'm explaining here. Okay, so log into application. So it is taking some time. So it is logged in. So here you have different modules. If you want to register a patient, you have register a patient module. Register a patient module. So here you have to provide all these details: name, gender. So once we fill these details, then only it will navigate to the next. Okay, like that we have one functionality. So again, click on home. If you want to find a patient after adding the details, if you want to find a patient, then you can go to find patient module. Okay, here you can find that patient, and whatever the details you provided over there, those will be displayed here. Those you need to verify. And once you open this record, again, for this patient, if they want to book the appointment with some doctor, see, for loading it is taking so much time, right? Okay, so you have to wait. We have to keep your execution in wait until it loads. Okay, there are some scenarios we have to handle, these kind of scenarios. See, again, this entire data, see, end visit, visit note, create visit, like that we have different options. Okay, so if you learn this, if you like learn automating this application properly, you can easily automate any type of application. So those many scenarios we have in this application. Okay, we can like what are the required, what are the required functionalities for our Selenium training. Okay, those I will take. Okay, I will explain. Okay, so this is the application we are going to automate. Okay, to launch this application, we already created some code. So here, if I want to launch the application, what I have to do? So this is the URL. This is the URL. Okay, so what I'm doing is, so these are URL. Okay, these are URLs, and also I have username and password. Username and password. I don't want to hard code these values, or I don't want to pass these values as the argument directly. What I want to do is, I want to create one file. Okay, I want to create one folder here, new folder. Folder name I'm giving as a resources. Resources. Folder name I'm giving as a resources. Resource means my username, my password, my URL, and also the data which I want to pass it to my test. So here I'm creating in the resources folder, I'm creating new file, my project properties. Okay, open mrs dot properties. Open mrs properties. Let me make it as alpha new, I mean intercapitalization. properties. Let's create this file. Properties file is created. In this properties file, I want to store my URLs and everything. So generally, usernames, passwords, URLs, authentication related information we store into the properties file.
The organization, sir?
Yeah, in organizations, basically. Okay, it is a URL, right? It is a URL. It is username. So whenever you have more than one name, more than one word, you have to use dot name equals to admin. Password. This is your properties file. If you want to read the data from properties file, what you have to do? If you want to read the data from properties file, what you have to do? Guys, did you really practice the Java part? Everything we discussed, okay, everything I will remind you, don't worry. Okay, so here we have IO streams, right? So here properties collection I have explained. Okay, if you want to read the data from properties file, okay, you can use this logic. Use this logic. Go to your OpenMRS, paste here. New file input stream, it throws some error. Add throws declaration. This is also throws some exception. Add throws declaration. Okay, so instead of using third-party variable, what I do is this one I directly put here. Okay, inside your project, you have created one resources folder, not src. You created as a resources folder. Inside that you have openmrs.properties file. Openmrs.properties file. So again, instead of creating student details file as a separate variable, what I do is this I will cut from here. In this place, I can put this here. Remove this. These two statements also not required. Okay. New file input stream. So you can do one more thing. If you want to maintain into file input stream, you can maintain. Otherwise, what you can do? This one you can remove from here. Directly you can replace here. This is also not required. Now you have the properties file. You want to read the property. Which property you want? You want URL. Okay. You want URL. You want a username. You want password. Username dot name and password. Okay. So once you implement this code, if suppose some URL and path is changed, I mean password and your username are changed, you no need to open this code. Suppose if you generated class files, you deleted the source code, you shared your data, I mean your code with the client to use it. So that time you will give only class files. You will not share this entire logic. Dot class files only will provide. Okay, they cannot, suppose if you hard code the username and password into the code, they cannot edit. Right, dot class files we cannot edit. Dot Java file only we can edit. So that is the reason whatever the data we maintain, we should not hard code that. We should not hard code that. What you can do is, this is there, right? This properties is there, right? This is also, we should not hard code here. What you have to do in the properties file only. Okay, here application dot properties. Generally, we put the name as application.properties instead of OpenMRS properties. What we do is application.properties generally we put. Okay, so this is my properties file path. So here application properties I will use here. How I can use using. Okay, so here of course we should not do that. Okay, so this one let it be. Okay, so this path generally we hard code because the properties file name we won't change in the future, the folder path and the properties file name. Okay, so let me remove it here. It's not required here. Okay, now you can get the username with the help of get property, and also password also you can get, URL also you can get. So now launch application. Launch application. Launch application. This launch application accepting one argument, that is URL. So URL you are getting. How you are getting URL? So with the help of get property, that you can store into some URL, and that you can assign into some string. That URL you can pass it to your launch application method instead of, okay, this is string only, right? What it is accepting? String only. Okay, why it is showing URL as error? So let me check. Launch application cannot be resolved. Okay, so first what we have to do, if you want to pass that value, first we have to take like this, then you can pass this. So it is throwing some exception. It is not throwing any exception, but when I pass URL, why it is showing error? Change. Okay, so this is not a static method. This is not a static method. What we have to do? First we have to create a object for your test. Object for your test. New object. New object dot launch application. OpenMRS dot launch application. Okay. So instead of you taking the URL separately, what you can do, instead of using that variable, you can directly use here. Am I audible or not?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Is my screen sharing?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
No. Yeah. Now it's sharing.
Okay. Yeah. So my Zoom, in between, it is restarted. Okay. See, when you run it, it opens the browser, it opens the application, and it will close the browser. Let me run it. See, it is open the browser. So it will open that MRS application, maximizes the browser and close the browser. See, in my local, see, whenever I open, I set some settings. Okay, those I need to disable. Okay, I will disable. Every time it is wasting the time, basically. So why every time Kalyan is joining with the different accounts? Okay, so see, it opens the home page of that OpenMRS application. So then maximize the browser, then closes the browser. See, then close the browser. So suppose if I give you a test like this, okay, so you might feel that, hey, what is this? Yeah. So what is this test? What is these are properties? What are these like that? You will confuse, right? So instead of maintaining this code into my main test, what I do is I'm creating one separate class, new class. I'm creating as a base class, base test, some base test. Before our OpenMRS test, I'm creating as a base test. Finish it. So here, what I do is this base test, whatever I have, these I cut from here, I store into here. Okay, I store into this base test, this base test. Okay, let it be. Properties. Here I create one method. For properties, I create one more method. So what it is doing basically. So these properties I will declare as static properties and properties.load. Here only I will load properties.load. Okay. So here what it is, student properties. What is student properties? Okay. OpenMRS properties. Okay, so this OpenMRS properties I will load here. Okay, it is throwing some exception. Declare it in declare it method level. Okay, so after loading, okay, so whenever I call launch application, okay, I have to pass the URL. What I do is instead of loading my properties in this launch application, what I do is base test. Base test, I create a constructor, which is a public constructor. Inside this base constructor, I will load the properties. I will load the properties. So now I have launch application and close application in the base test, right? So now here remove this properties and open MRS test. What you have to do, create a object for your base test or extend this base test to your extends base test. Okay, so here it is giving some error. Why it is giving some error? Let's see. Add constructor to this particular method. Why we have to add this? Why we have to add this? Suppose if you want to create an object for your base test, okay, for your base test or your child class, Okay, this particular constructor is expecting some value. Okay, this you are initializing and also you are throwing some exception. So that is the reason it is mandatorily asking you to create the constructor in your base test. Okay, now what you have to do is you have to create object for your OpenMRS test. So now you can directly call the launch application. URL, from where you get URL, from where you can get the URL. So you already define the variable, this OpenMRS properties, make it as public. So this is also comes to this OpenMRS test, right? Launch application. Okay, what you can do is instead of doing that, so here create one more variable, public static string URL equals to, just declare it as it is. This URL you can initialize with this statement here. So now you are extending this base class, this URL also you can access, right? Directly what you can do is just put the URL. It is a static launch application URL. Where is URL? You have to go to here. Okay, which URL? Then you can go to properties. You can see here. Okay, then close the application. Close, not clone, close. Okay, so close. Why it is okay? We have close application, not close. So it looks good, right? It looks very good. Okay, similarly, these properties, what I do is I will initialize all these properties here. Username and password also. I will do it here. Okay, so here launch application. Okay, instead of passing this URL from here, what I do is I remove it. I go to base class. Here also I will remove the URL. Why to pass the URL from there? Why to pass URL from there? So directly you can use this URL right here in the same class. Okay, username and password. Username and password. I have username and password. Two variables. These I will assign with this properties file. Okay, so instead of, if you don't want to like use some third, but some other third variable here, what you can do, this again you can change. OpenMRS properties URL you can use. I don't want to use this username and password here, so these I will use later. So cut it and paste here. See how we are simplifying the code. You need to understand. See, one by one, why I'm explaining. First, I'm creating this one and removing some other lines of code. Why I'm explaining? You can minimize your code, usage of your code. You can minimize. So Java is made for with very less number of code. You can do the more logics. Okay. First, I'm creating some script that I'm minimizing it here. Okay, just simply launch application and close application. Open mrs.launch application, open mrs.close application. Simple, right? See, your test will be looks very simple. So let me rerun it. Let me rerun it. Okay, it is open and closed also, right? Yeah. So now I want to log into application. Log into application. Okay. For the easy maintenance purpose. Okay, let me log out. For the easy maintenance. So here you are writing some base test. Again, login also if you create into a base test, okay, there will be no meaning. Okay. So what I do is I will create a separate class to maintain my login related code, which means home page related code I want to maintain into this home page. Or for your understanding purpose, what I do is, so I don't create any page. Okay, so here you already logged into application. Now I have to log in. What I have to do, I have to log in. Okay, log into the application. Log into application. How we can log in? First, you need to write the code to identify these elements. Those you need to use into your Selenium coding. Okay, let me inspect the element. Username and password. So this is in input, which has some ID. So let me check with this ID. Yes, with ID you are getting unique value with ID. So copy here. You have password. So let me identify this password. Password also has some ID. Okay, it is simple. Yes. Password. Then you have to click on registration desk. Identify that. Okay, ID is registration desk only. Okay, with ID also we are able to access. See, first preference we have to give it to ID. Then click on login button. It is a input. Again, we have ID. Yes, you are able to identify very simply. So going forward, it is very difficult application. Okay, you will see the more scenarios. You have 4 IDs. So now convert this code into Selenium code. Okay, so you need driver basically. You need a driver, but your driver is not available here. Your driver is not available here. Then what you have to do? Then what you have to do? So suppose if you create web driver, so driver you are initializing, suppose okay, let me use driver dot. find element. This is the, okay, let me make it as open MRS driver dot find element by dot id. Okay, all these are IDs, right? Okay, all these are IDs. We have 4 elements. One is username, second one is password, third one is registration desk. Okay, put it into the double quotes. Put it into double quotes. Value, right? And also you have login button. Login button. So here in base test, let me remove these username, password, URL. We are not using anywhere. Go to your test. So now if you run, what happens? If you run this, what happens now? Okay, so let me run it. So you launch the application, but it has to enter username and password, but you will get the null pointer exception. So what you are getting? Null pointer exception. Null pointer. Why we are getting null pointer exception? So whenever you create any global variable by default, okay, for the prim2 data types, the corresponding prim2 value it will be assigned 0, 0.0 for character space, for boolean false, like that it will assign. So here you declare the variable, but you didn't assign any value. So by default it takes as a null. Suppose if you print this variable driver openmrs.driver, okay. So after creating this statement, okay, let me, it prints null. Okay, let me comment these lines and let's see what it is getting. It prints null basically. So null. Why we are getting null pointer exception? Can't invoke. Close. Okay. You are getting null. If you perform any operation on null, you will get the null pointer exception basically. Okay. What you have to do? You need to handle this one, or you need to change something. Tell me. Do we need to handle this exception, or do we need to handle exception, or we need to add something to the driver? What we have to do? Tell me. If you handle the exception, what happens? It simply ignores these lines, right? So let me do one thing. So let me handle the exception. So where we are getting, so in this place we are getting, right? So try and catch. Okay, catch, you want to handle the null pointer exception. Null pointer, NE. So try where you want to try. So these statements we are getting null pointer exception. Okay. Here print that exception, null pointer exception. Message, NE dot message, get message. If you run it, it will launch the application. after launching, okay, after launching the home page and it maximizes the browser, it won't do any operation. It will simply click like skip the statements. So here you are getting some invoke exception, null pointer exception. Here it is skipping, but I want to perform these operations. Basically, what I have to do, you might feel that okay, it is driver is a null. Now driver is null. You might feel that I want to assign some value to this driver. Okay, suppose if you use new Chrome driver, what happens? Let's see. Okay, what happens? Let's see. So let me close this browser too. So you are assigned some value to this driver. Now this is not null. It has some driver. But let's see what happens. Okay, see when you assign some, so here illegal state exception. Why we are getting illegal state? Which statement we are getting? Line number 25. So when you use Chrome, why it is giving illegal state exception to this driver? We should not get this. We should not get this illegal state. The path to the driver. Okay. So here the driver path it is unable to. The driver path it is unable to find. It is unable to find the driver path that we have mentioned here, right? That we have mentioned here. What I do is let me copy this. Let me paste it here. Okay, here you cannot do what I do. Cut it here and paste it over here. So let me rerun again. So it is open browser. Again, it is open one more browser. Let's see. So let's check whether we get any exception or not. See, first it opened one browser. Again, it opened one more browser. Here it is nothing is showing. And here it is open the home page, right? And when it try to identify the elements with this driver, okay, it is unable to identify any element in the blank page. It is unable to identify any element in the blank page. So that is the reason it is unable to, like that is the reason it is throwing there no such element found in that web page, no such element found. Exception it is showing. So in this case, what we have to do? We should not create two browsers. Okay, when you use new Chrome driver, it is opening one browser, and also when you launch application, in this launch application also you have one more Chrome driver, new Chrome driver. Here also it is launching the browser. There are two browsers, total two browsers. So we should not create two browsers. We have to create only one browser. What we have to do then? So we need to create only one browser. Then what we have to do? Tell me just what we have to do. I want to use only one driver. Okay, that driver only I have to pass it to different classes. Then what I have to do? Okay, so let me explain. So now, instead of creating the driver here or in the application dot properties, this application dot properties where it is launch application, instead of creating the driver here, what we can do is this driver, this web driver, we can assign through the constructor. We can assign through the constructor. So this is also driver. This dot driver equals to this local variable. Okay. So now in my base test, why it is showing some error? Yeah. In my test, while creating the object, what I do is, okay, so let me create the object here. So now this Chrome driver, I remove from here. Here I will pass. Here I will pass. Okay, here also you need to put web driver, because when you are creating the object, you are passing one argument, that is the object, that is a web driver object. Okay, here also you can assign that object. And in super also, super means your constructor also is expecting one object. Which object? Again, it is a driver object. Which is a driver object. Implicit super constructor based test is undefined, must explicitly invoke another constructor. So why it must be explicitly? This is fine. So let me check this. Yeah. Okay. So your super class also you are passing the same driver instance, and also for your driver object also you are initializing the same driver instance. So you are creating only one time new Chrome driver. If you go to application properties, launch application, here also you are not creating any driver here. No need to create here. Now this system.property also not required here. You can remove. Okay, so this dot driver. Okay, so you can say, yeah, so you can make it as static. So so whenever you are using static, it's better to use class name. And also in OpenMRS test, so here also I will make it as a static, because you required only one drive, the common data, that is the common thing. So now no need to use this OpenMRS here also not required, then again not required. If you want to use class name, you can use. If you are using the same class, no need to mention anything. And this try and catch block also not required here. You will not get any null pointer exception. Why you will not get any null pointer exception? This driver you are already initializing with the object. So here in this place. Okay, so here also no need to use in the same class. Okay, it is asking. Okay, because to differentiate these two, we require this keyword or class name. Okay, now execute this. So now it has to open only one browser. Again, it is opening two browsers. Let's see. I think these two are old ones. Okay, so these we can close it. This is also we can close. See, it is open the login page. Earlier you are getting the null pointer exception. Okay, but now, okay, immediately, okay, it is closed the browser. Why it is closed the browser immediately? Did it set these values? Okay, let me do one thing. So we are not getting any exception also. Okay, so let me do one thing. So here thread.sleep, I will put for some 5 seconds. Some 5 seconds before closing the application. It has to set these values after launching the application. Okay, it has to set these values. So we are not getting any exception means, okay, the program is executing successfully. Here we are not getting any exception.
No,
But here,
but here just we are identifying those elements and nothing we are doing, right?
yes, correct, exactly.
So I think that's the reason just it is identifying,
Just
it's
it is
closing.
identified. Yeah, correct, Murli. You are correct. So here, we are just identifying. So we need to perform the action. So here, if you want to set username, okay, you need to use send keys. Okay, where is your username? It is there in the OpenMRS properties. OpenMRS properties dot get property. Which property it is? Username. Okay, similarly, you need to set the password. You need to set the password. Dot send keys. So you need to make it as password. This one you need to click. Dot click. Not clear. Click. And login button also you have to click. Okay, let's try again.
I think this login will fail because once you click on this registration link, right, it will navigate to somewhere.
We'll see. We'll see. Let's see whether it is setting or not. Let's see. It is not entering any values. Huh? Any exception we got? Illegal argument exception. Keys to send should be to a null. So here we are getting null. Why we are getting null? Get property dot okay username. I missed it. Okay, whenever you pass the wrong property name, you will get the null. It is unable to send the null values to the send keys. Okay, so it's my mistake. So let me rerun, or let me directly copy the names as it is from here. Instead of doing the mistakes, just copy the names as it is from here. So run it. See, it is logged in, then it is closes the application. See, so you are created this as a test, OpenMRS test. So again, you should not see this kind of no code inside your test. Okay, this should be like a steps: launch application, set username, set password, or launch application, log into application. Like that, your code should be reflect. So instead of maintaining this code, okay, here what you can do is you can create one more class. Okay, this is home page related objects, right? These are home page related objects. The page name also login page related. Okay, what you can do is you can create a class login page. Finish it. Login page. This login page. This login page has some constructor. So here also what I do, extends base test. Okay, so here it is asking to add constructor. So here driver. Okay, this dot driver equals to driver simply. Okay, so here it is already fetching the base class driver. Base class, in base class also we have static web driver, right? You can simply use that. You can simply use that driver into your login page. Base.driver. So this is login page. You can directly access like this. Okay, here what I want to do is instead of assigning to base.driver, we are already assigning the driver to base.driver using super constructor. Here I want to create web driver equals to. So now I don't want to use the base class driver. I want to use my class driver. Okay, this I want to make it as static. So now I want to create one method login to application. Okay, login or login to application. Okay, which is a void method. Here you already written the code. Just copy this to your login page. So now these properties we already getting from the base test. Okay, so let's run. Okay, now what I do, I just need to call this login application to my code. But where this login to application is available? This is available in the login page, right? This is available in the login page. So what I have to do is, I want to create one variable, login page. Login page. This login page I will initialize. So here, login page equals to new login page. New login page. Some login page. So now I already initialized the driver, this driver. Okay. So if I want to pass this driver, again, if I use new Chrome driver, what happens? If I use new Chrome driver, what happens? This new Chrome driver. Again, it will open a new browser. We should not use that. We already fetching the WebDriver. Here, this WebDriver is already assigned with this driver. Okay. So now this driver you can directly pass it to login driver because it is already assigned with the current browser driver here. Do not create any new Chrome driver here. You just need to pass the driver, or no need to declare this also. Your browser, your base test already having the driver object, driver instance, that you can reuse it. Or if you want to specify with your test class, you can specify it. Okay. So this also I will make it as a static. Static. Okay, so I should not get this error. So login page dot. So why this is small l, small l. Okay, login page pag. Yeah. So login page dot login to application. Or what you can do, this one. You can write here, right? In the constructor. Through the constructor, you can assign the values. So basically, we will not do that. Wherever we want, there we will create the object. There only we will use that page. Login date page dot launch application. OpenMRS dot launch application. Login page dot login to application. OpenMRS dot close application. Okay, run it. Again, it will log in. Then it will close. So it is logging into application. See. So now it has been logged in. Then home page is displayed. Then it will close the browser. Okay. So whenever we look at your test, okay, those steps should be appear clearly. So see, you are hiding your code. You are hiding into some other classes. Just simply you are calling the methods. Okay. So this is very basic, very basic script. This is very basic script. So I'm removing unnecessary imports. Why these are not required, which are showing in the yellow color. Those are unnecessary imports. Okay, your test should be very clear. Whenever somebody wants to go through your test should be very clear. Okay, align it properly, align in a proper way. by looking at your test only, they should understand, okay, this test is related to this one. Okay, going forward, of course, we want to use this notation in the frameworks. Okay, frameworks are very easy to use, but preparing from scratch is a very tough. Okay, so yeah, we can convert our code into different classes. Because why we are converting to different classes? Suppose if something is happened to log into application, if you maintain everything in a single class, suppose your login application is failing, if you maintain your code into a single class, so you need to check entire code where this login related application code, you have to check entire code. Somewhere you will find this login application related code, there you will fix. Instead of that, if you maintain your code into different classes, base test related base test class, login page related login page class, if your login is failing, then you will directly go to login page. Here you will check, like compiler we are providing this upcasting and downcasting, right? You directly go to this class and search for that. So here we are doing it, right? New Chrome driver equals to new Chrome driver, web driver equals to new Chrome driver. Why we are assigning this? Your compiler directly go to this web driver and search for this get method and other methods. Similarly, whenever we are implementing the code, so we have to implement code in such a way, like already somebody like implemented for our feasibility purpose, right? So we are preparing some code. If somebody wants to use our code, he has to use in a easy way. Okay. So here login to page. So if your login is failing, then you will go to login to page class and there you will modify. Suppose launch application is failing, you will directly go to base test and there you will set your code and you will fix your code. Okay. So for the easy maintenance, you will create the different classes based on the page names. Suppose you have some page, login page, next home page, registration page. Similarly, find patient page, like that. Different classes we will create. The driver instance, how we are passing driver to different classes using constructor. So if you open any class, see, you can see constructor here. Here also you have constructor. Initializing the driver with the help of constructor. The same driver. You are passing state transmission. We call it as state transmission. You created the object in this page. You created the object in this page. So this object you are transmitting to different classes. You are transmitting to superclass base test. From the base test again you are accessing to login page, like that. Okay. So this notation we call it as page object model. Page wise you are creating the objects. Here it is one object. Here it is your base test object. Similarly, you will create multiple objects. For each page, you will create the object. From that object, you will access the methods, the page related methods. Okay, so we will continue tomorrow this part. So tomorrow, what I do is I will like explain one flow that I will automate. This code I will push to Git repository. How we can perform Git operations through the editors, IEDEs. Okay, that I will explain tomorrow. Before that, I will automate few functionalities. At least on home page, I will put some verification and also logout related things I will do. Okay, so let me stop recording.